Well, good morning, everyone. Good to see everybody. Thanks for coming to this Tuesday, November 20th, full county board meeting for the county of Mclean. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. First order of business pursuant to Section 2020C2A of the McLean County Code. Member George Wendt has requested to attend and participate in this meeting remotely. Proper notice was received in accordance with our board rules. Is there any objection to Member Wendt attending and participating remotely? Seeing none with no objection, I deem his request to attend and participate remotely approved. Good morning, Mr. Wendt. Good morning. Good to hear from you. And we'll get started here. Please rise for the invocation. Let us pray. Eternal God, we thank you for the opportunity to live in and serve the people of this great county. Please grant us the strength, wisdom, and courage that is needed for us to work together so that we may provide effective governance. Thank you for keeping our construction workers and iron workers safe from serious injuries while they labor on the building of our jail addition. We pray for Member Wendt that he may continue on his path of recovery from his illness, keep free from harm our county employees and highway department workers during this coming winter, and those who represent us in our armed forces both at home and overseas. We ask your help in guiding us to be fair and just in our efforts to make decisions that will positively affect the lives of all of our residents. During this season of Thanksgiving, help us to be mindful of those residents who are less fortunate and in need of our help, and allow us the insight to appreciate and pass on to others the wonderful blessings that you have bestowed on each of us. Thank you, our Heavenly Father, we respectfully pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, Assistant Clerk Tisha McKinney, will you please call the roll?
Susan Schaefer. Here. Ryan Scritchlow. Here. Paul Segobiano. Here. David Selzer. Here. James Soldner. Here. George Wendt. Present. Lori Woolrab. Here. Josh Barnett. Present. Jacob Beard. Present. William Casely. Present. Don Cavallini. Here. Chuck Erickson. Here. George Gordon. Absent. Mark Johnson. Here. Randall Martin. Here. Catherine Metzger. Present. Scott Murphy. Here. Eric Rankin. Present. And John McIntyre.
Here.
Present.
Member Rosedale is here too. Missed him as well.
Sorry, missed you. I have you on here.
So we have 19 members present, one absent, and we'll move on. We have no appearances from members of the public today. And so we have before you the consent agenda.
I move will be approved as presented.
Motion by Member Segobiano and second by Member Casely to approve the consent agenda as presented. I will tell you that we have a transfer item that we will vote on as well. And first of all in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented, please say aye. Aye. I want to note that item E1B requests approval of a lease agreement with the Children's Advocacy Center. Member Scritchlow would like to abstain from voting on that particular item from our consent agenda, and we will have transfer ordinance on page 28, which require a 2/3 vote. Are there any dissensions on the transfer ordinance at this time to be recorded? If none, I will deem that unanimous as well. And the consent agenda has passed. We'll go on to approval of resolutions, and I have a number of those to give today. Member Scritchlow, Ryan Scritchlow, would you join me up here, please? For 1 year and 3 months of service as a member of the Mclean County Board from September 19th, 2017 through December 2nd, 2018, including service as a member of the Property Committee and Land Use and Development Committee, on behalf of the citizens of Mclean County and Mclean County Board expresses its appreciation and gratitude for your dedicated service to improving the quality of life for all of our Mclean County citizens, presented this 20th day of November 2018. Thank you, sir, for your service as well. I'd like to say a few words.
I'd just like to thank all of you for giving me this opportunity. It has been a blast and a great learning experience, and I wish more people would have the opportunity to give this a try. Thank you very much.
Next, we have recognition for Mr. Mark Johnson. Mark, would you join us, please? For 4 years of service as a member of the Mclean County Board from December 1st, 2014 through December 2nd, 2018, including service as a member of the Property Committee, Transportation Committee, and Land Use and Development Committee, on behalf of the citizens of Mclean County, the Mclean County Board expresses its appreciation and gratitude for your dedicated service to improving the quality of life of all Mclean County citizens, presented this 20th day of November 2018. Thank you, sir, for your service.
Coach.
As well, Mark.
Thanks, sir. All right, I have a few short notes here that'll last about 45 minutes, so if you guys can just buckle in. I've never known not to be verbose, so I won't take this opportunity to prove that. But I have to just quickly say, after 4 years, I'm not the same person I was 4 years ago. Life changes, people change, our county is changing. I'm seeing that, and I hope that those of you that remain will understand that there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of work that's unfinished. And I've thoroughly enjoyed my time on the board, getting to know the county staff. I've enjoyed getting to know Bill Wasson and everyone. This was my high school coach, PE teacher. And it's neat to see how it doesn't matter young, old, in between, that people can use their hands to do good work. And so, as Alex de Tocqueville said, the health of democracy in society may be measured by the quality of functions performed by private citizens. And myself as a private citizen, my dad had a small business in North Normal for 37 years, and we served the public. And I decided to join the Army National Guard at the age of 19 to be able to serve. And then this is just another chapter of that service that I've been able to provide for here in the county. And all I can ask for is a member approached me this morning and said that I'm just know that if you told me you were going to do something, that you would do it and follow through. And I would hope that we could have more of that over the next 4 years as you county board members interact with one another. I was at Chestnut Health Center last night with 4 addicts. And 4 years ago, I got involved with the county board because I'd heard about the efforts to do things with mental health in Mclean County. I wanted to be a part of that process, and I wanted to be a part of the process of getting private citizens who were doing hard work in our community to help addicts have an ability to work with the things that are going on with the county. So all I can say is learn about that, learn about what's going on in our community by private citizens, because government isn't always the answer. But I know that I'm going to stay dedicated to working in mental health, working through a ministry called Celebrate Recovery that's at 2 churches here locally. And feel free to look that up and learn more about that. There's hundreds of people being served in our community through that ministry. And so all I can ask is get your hands dirty, find a way to serve, and let's make our little corner of the world as best as it can be. Thanks for your time.
Next we have Eric Rankin. Eric, would you like to join me up here? In recognition of Eric Rankin for 10 years of service as a member of the Mclean County Board from December 2nd, 2008 through December 4th, 2018, including service as Vice Chairman of the Justice Committee, Vice Chairman of the Finance Committee, and as a member of the Land Use and Development, Justice, Finance, and Executive Committees, and a member of the Rules Subcommittee. On behalf of the citizens of McLean County, the McLean County Board expresses its appreciation and gratitude for years of dedicated service to improving the quality of life for all citizens of McLean County, presented this 20th day of November 2018. Congratulations, sir.
Thanks, sir. Thanks. Well, I woke up this morning and I was standing in my closet. I was about ready to grab my suit, and I realized how much I hate suits. So I didn't put one on today. So you got jeans. It's been 10 years of my life, quarter of my life has been spent here on the McLean County Board. I would love to tell you that I've enjoyed every minute of it. Some of it has sucked. Some of it has been fantastic. And let me tell you about the parts that weren't fun. The parts that weren't fun are some of the more mundane parts of it. Right? And there's a lot of mundane parts of county government, and that was something that I wasn't prepared for. When I decided to run 10 years ago, it was because a couple of students told me, they said, hey, listen, you tell us all the time that we're supposed to get involved. You should do the same thing. And I went, well, only if you'll help me. And they did. I was running against a person that had a better name than I, that fundraised me, and we were still able to win. And like a lot of us, once you get here, it's, oh man, now what? And I got a lot of advice. It's always great. I'm sure all of the new members, most of them are here today, who are going to be seated in December. It's always interesting how people on the county board are really willing to give you advice. And this is what you ought to do. So I'm going to give you a little bit of advice as well. Don't listen to anybody else, and probably including myself. Do what you were elected to do. I'm not going to quote de Tocqueville. I'm going to quote Rankin. Do your job. The voters sent you here for a reason. Do your job to the best of your ability. That means sometimes we're going to fight with one another. I'm one of those weirdos that actually enjoys fighting. I was at my best and enjoyed my time on the county board the most when I could spar with Member Erickson. And those were some legendary fights. But what I will tell you is that when I would fight with Member Erickson, we could always walk downstairs, walk around the corner, and have a beer right after the meeting. We didn't take it personally. We did it for the betterment of this community. And so that's my advice. Don't take this also personally. It is a lot of fun. There are times where it's super boring, but the job is really, really meaningful. I was talking to my daughter as I was dropping her off this morning, and she said, Dad, where are you going? I said, I'm going to county board. She's like, oh, today's your last day. She's like, don't worry, Dad. And she put her hand on my leg and said, I still think you're cool, Dad. So no offense, as much as I love all of you, her thoughts are a lot more important. And in the future, it was funny, as much as Member Murphy and I butted heads on the notion of term limits, I still think they're stupid. And he knows I think they're stupid. But I agree with what we saw come out of our advisory question. I term limited myself for a reason. I think that turnover on the county board is a good thing. I think different ideas from different people is good. So my hope is that for all of us that have been sitting here for a long time, give somebody else a shot at some point in time. I have appreciated almost every single one of you the entire time that I've been here. And I really look forward to working with you in the future. And I say that seriously. You're probably not done with me. Who knows? Maybe I'll see you sometime in the very near future. Thanks a lot for all of your time. Thanks a lot for all of your camaraderie. And I hope that other members will pick up the banner of annoying administration as much as I did, and driving the rest of the members as crazy as I could. Right? Chuck, that's your job now. Cool. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
Next is Mr. David Selzer. I'm doing this chronologically by years of experience here. Dave, you'd like to join us? For 11 years of service as a member of the McLean County Board from December 4th, 2000 through August 30th, 2008, and then again December 15th, 2015 through December 2nd, 2018, including service as Vice Chairman of the Board, Chairman of the Finance and Transportation Committees, Vice Chairman of the Executive, Property, and Justice Committees, a member of Property, Finance, Justice, Transportation, and Executive Committees, and a member of the Rules Subcommittee on behalf of the citizens of McLean County. The McLean County Board expresses its appreciation and gratitude for your years of dedicated service to improving the quality of life for all McLean County citizens. Presented this 20th day of November 2018. You've had a tough job, and thank you for doing it.
Thank you. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. So I just want to talk for a second about McLean County and mental health and what's been done. So I was born, I know a lot of you thought I celebrated my 40th birthday, but you were off just a little bit. But I was born July 20th, 1957. On or about that day, Paul Segobiano started Knockers, started a football team on the west side of town, and for I don't know how many years, as long as I can remember, he took youth out of bad situations. I don't even know if there would be a way to quantify how many people are not in jail and not down a bad path because of that program. So we moved to town in '85. Paul was still doing Knockers, and I met up with, if you don't know her, his lovely bride, Barb, who Barb was appointed by then Mayor Jesse Smart and I by Mayor Paul Harmon to chair Twin City Fest. It was supposed to be a festival. We couldn't afford fireworks, but we did have some fireworks because I didn't like Paul. I didn't know who he thought he was. So we were talking, and I was being real nice. His wife's the sweetest lady on the planet Earth. And I said, you know what? If he can be on the county board, I can be on the county board. So that's when I got on the county board in 2000. And Paul and I disagreed on a lot of things over the years. But one thing that never changed was Paul's commitment to the citizens here. And we would have some total disagreements on fundamental principles. But you know, the thing that never changes is the commitment that was made to mental health back the day I was born, literally, helping people in need. And the county has put more money to it. We need to continue to do that. We need to press our state legislators to do that. But you know, sometimes you have mentors because they're like this perfect person, and then sometimes you have mentors because you don't always agree with them. And I'll take one of those every day. So Paul, thank you. Appreciate it.
Next we have Don Cavallini. Don, would you like to join us, please? For 16 years of service as a member of the county board, from December 3rd, 2002 through December 4th, 2018, including service as Vice Chairman of the Transportation Committee, as a member of the Land Use and Development, Justice, Property, Transportation, and Executive Committees, and as Vice Chairman and a member of the Liquor Control Commission. On behalf of the citizens of McLean County, the McLean County Board expresses its appreciation and gratitude for your years of dedicated service to improving the quality of life for all citizens of McLean County, presented this 20th day of November 2018. Thank you, Don, for your service.
I made the decision actually 4 years ago not to seek re-election to the McLean County Board because I felt that after 16 years, it was time for somebody new to take over this position. I've had plenty of time to think about what I want to say, but I don't have any great words of wisdom or governmental advice to give out. Instead, I'd like to share a song. I'm not going to sing this. I'd like to share a song with you that I can recall when I was growing up in my hometown of Blue Island as an only child. I liked to pretend that I was a disc jockey. And so I would get my parents' records, old 78 RPM records, which I still have, and play these songs and introduce them. And one of my favorite songs, I didn't really understand why I liked it then, I do now, but I just liked the song, the music. And the song is entitled Enjoy Yourself, and the version my parents had was Guy Lombardo and his Royal Canadians, and the main stanza, which I'll just share with you, goes like this. Enjoy yourself, it's later than you think. Enjoy yourself while you're still in the pink. The years go by as quickly as a wink. Enjoy yourself, it's later than you think. 16 years on the McLean County Board just went by in a wink. And that's true, I think, of life in general. It goes by so very quickly. My wife and I are looking forward to hitting the road very soon in the first week of December. And our first visit is going to be our son and his wife and our grandkids, who are now relocated temporarily in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. My son was admitted into the U.S. Army War College and is in a program dealing with strategic studies. So this was good news for him, but bad news for us because now it's a 2-day trip to visit our grandkids instead of one to Tennessee. Before we hit the road, I want to say some thank yous to people. Over these years that I've had the privilege and the opportunity to serve, it's all because of the voters and the residents in District 1. And I thank them first and foremost for allowing me this opportunity. It's been a great learning experience. I had the opportunity along the way to meet some very wonderful people as board members, as county employees, as administrators. The second group of people I want to thank is our administration. I've worked with any number of people going back to John Zunick and Terry Lindbergh and now Bill Wasson. All of these people have been extremely helpful. We have an excellent set of administrators. Another group that I want to thank is McLean County employees. They are dedicated, they are hardworking, and you see their job every day in a variety of ways, whether they're working on transportation or doing work in the jail or health or wherever. They're just very dedicated people, and I can't thank them enough for making this county what it is today. I also want to thank, this may come as a little bit of a surprise, I want to thank the media, the people who are involved with radio and television and newspapers. They're here every month to cover the county board, and they do, I think, a good job in letting the public know what it is that we're doing. So I thank them. And my colleagues, especially Catherine Metzger from District 1. Catherine, I've joked saying she's a little different from Stan Hazelton, but he's in a class by himself. But Catherine, I'll tell you, is a go-getter. I've enjoyed her as a colleague. She's probably lit a fire under me because of her energy and enthusiasm for serving on this board. So I want to thank Catherine. And I guess most of all, I want to thank my wife, who, although she's not here this morning, I said I had some final thoughts. And the thought that I had is that every time I decided to run for election, I would go to her first for her signature on my petition. And if I knew if she didn't sign that petition, I probably was going to be in some serious trouble. So she's always agreed to sign the petition, but I could tell the last 4 years there's probably a little bit of hesitancy as to whether or not she would go along with it for one more term. So that was a big sign that maybe I better step aside. It's been a great 16 years. Thank you all for the privilege.
As a story has been told and confirmed by Member Casely, there was once a man named Clyde D. Hunter who had been a long-time serving member of this Mclean County Board. Clyde was an assistant Bloomington Township supervisor, a barber down the street in the Grisham building, and it was commonly known that Mr. Hunter's seat on this board was virtually untouchable. But then in 1972, a young upstart West Sider named Segobiano came out of nowhere and upset and soundly defeated Mr. Hunter and has served on this board ever since. As a new member of the board in 1980 myself, I remember Mr. Sego and political science professor from Illinois Wesleyan, John Wenham, some of the great debates and arguments we had, because they were about the strongest representatives of the county Democratic Party at that time. Tough debaters, supporters of the labor union, blue-collar workers, and students as well. And now, this many years later, Mr. Segobiano has continued to work not only for his constituents, but all members of the county, regardless of their race, nationality, social standing, vocations, or political party affiliation. Paul, please come to the podium. For all of your efforts, I just want to say to you, speaking on behalf of this board, and for the many hundred members who served on this board in the past, thank you. My hat's off to you. And for all of your efforts and years of service, you get a plaque. For 46 years, which I'd like to read, for 46 years of service from December 5th, 1972 through December 4th, 2018, as a member of the Mclean County Board, the longest term served of any county board in the state of Illinois, including service as Vice Chairman of the Board, Chairman of the Property Committee, Chairman and Vice Chairman of the Finance Committee, Vice Chairman of the Land Use and Development Committee, Vice Chairman of the Executive Committee, Vice Chairman and member of the Rules Subcommittee, a member of the Land Use and Development, Property, Finance, and Executive Committees, and the Legislative Subcommittee. Whew. On behalf of the citizens of Mclean County, the Mclean County Board expresses its appreciation and gratitude for the many years of your dedicated service and efforts to improve the quality of life for all citizens of Mclean County, presented this 20th day of November, 2018. Congratulations, sir.
You know, this is really nicer than a T-shirt. Thank you. Well, there's so many people that I could thank, and I'm not going to start missing them all because it would be remiss in some of the people I've had the privilege of serving with. I did an interview here just recently, and I referred to my life like a good book, a book that has many chapters in it, some filled with success and some filled with failure. But when I was in high school playing football, I had a coach my freshman year who says, you know, you never realize the taste of victory until you've tasted defeat. And once you've tasted that, you do the best you can. So when did life really start for me? As to learning responsibility and even what someone special means to you. I met a pretty little girl my sophomore year in high school, And I thought, you know, I might like to take her on a date. So I asked her to go to homecoming. She told some of her friends she wasn't going to go out with that guy. Well, she eventually did. Come February 19th, we will celebrate our 64th wedding anniversary. And I couldn't ask for anyone more to be here than Barb. Believe it or not, I often refer to her as Spook. And so, Spook, I'm so happy to see you because not only did she agree to marry me, but together we brought forth into this world 5 beautiful children, 2 girls and 3 boys. And Paula, thank you so much, you and Michael, for bringing her up here today. It means so much to me. Thank you very much. There have been a number of accomplishments throughout the years that I've had the privilege to serve on this board. And if anyone thinks you do it alone, they've got an awful lot to learn. There's nothing like teamwork. And I've said to so many members of the board throughout the years, when you walk through that door, you leave the R's and D's behind because you become a board member. We don't govern the city of Bloomington, and we don't govern the town of Normal. We're Mclean County government. So what you need to do is to put all your efforts forward as to how do we make the county a better place in cooperation with the city of Bloomington and the town of Normal. During my tenure on the board, we have been truly blessed with chairmen who knew how to work with all the various attitudes and individuals come on the board. Nancy Foley was an outstanding chairman and often referred to as the best chairman I've ever had the privilege to serve with. In following order would be Matt Sorensen and now John McIntyre. Those 3 people have been outstanding chairmen of the board. But it also takes administrators who can go into these various departments and work with these department heads, find out their wants and needs in order to bring forth good county government that best serves the people of this county. And we go back to John Zunick, Terry Linsberg, and now Bill Watson. All had not only the ability, but the attitude to work with various department heads. And believe it or not, Mclean County is truly blessed with some outstanding department heads. They know their job. They're dedicated to citizens of Mclean County. And regardless of what you hear out there, these people know their job, and they execute it well. I could start naming all the projects that I have been associated with and really proud of. We're about to dedicate the addition to the Law and Justice Center. And I can tell people, and I often do, I came with the building. We built the Law and Justice Center, put a couple additions on it, and now we're about to put an addition on that some people says was a waste of time and a waste of money. Mclean County can truly stand up and be counted as a leader downstate for our attitude and our efforts towards mental illness. Done an outstanding job. Been a number of committees throughout the years. I go back to Sheriff Emery and Matt Sorensen, who saw a need, especially over in the jail with individuals with mental illness. They did the best with what they had. And realizing that they needed more to treat people like human beings and treat people with respect, we developed this addition to address the needs of mental illness, and particularly the females who were incarcerated there. They may be in jail for some offense, but they're still people. This county board, and I certainly want to thank members of the property committee who work with me and Mr. Watson and the Farnsworth group, to make this facility possible. So as we move forward in the years to come and we look at mental health, Mclean County stands above everything from 80 on down. And that's in cooperation not only with members of the board, but our department heads. and under the leadership of John McIntyre, Sheriff Sandys is over there, he picked up the thoughts and the ideas about how we could best address this. They've done an outstanding job, and John, you and your staff certainly need to be congratulated for your efforts on that. I know we're going to do a dedication here after the board meeting, but all in all, I would not begin to name some of the board members, some of the department heads that I've had the opportunity to serve with. But I leave here with what my father taught me a long time ago. Two things he said. Son, you're no better than anybody else, but you're just as good. You take what you have and make the best of it and try to fix what is broken. Thank you very much.
There is still a possibility that Mr. Segobiano's record could be broken. And Mr. Gordon, if you're watching today on stream, I've been considering the math, and if you continue to serve on this board, you can also break Mr. Sego's record when you're 101. And I, as well, if I were to stay on, will be 106. So, thank you. Well, let's move on. And let's get down to business here. And we have the report of the standing committees, Executive Committee, Vice Chairman Soldner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Executive Committee has 5 items to present today for action. The first one is 7A1A, request for approval of fiscal year 2019 budget as recommended by the Executive Committee. I move that.
Motion by Member Soldner, second by Member Murphy. Comments or questions or discussion? If none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thanks, George.
Second one is 7A1B, request for approval and adoption of the fiscal 2019 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance and the 5-year capital improvement plan, and authorize the chairman and the county clerk to sign. I so move.
Motion by Vice Chairman Soldner, second by Member Cavallini. Comments, questions, or discussion? If none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried.
Next item is 7A1C, request for approval and adoption the fiscal year 2019 full-time equivalent positions resolutions, and authorize the chairman and the county clerk to sign.
Motion by Member Soldner, second by Member Selzer. Comments or questions or discussion? If none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion carried.
Next item is 7A1D, request approval and adoption of the 2018 tax levy ordinance for the Mclean County, and authorize the chairman and the county clerk to sign. I so move.
Motion by Vice Chairman Soldner, second by Member Woolrab. Comments or questions or discussion? This will be a roll call vote because it is the tax levy. So the clerk will please call the roll.
Susan Schaefer?
Yes.
Ryan Scritchlow? Yes. Paul Segobiano? Yes. David Selzer?
Yes.
James Soldner?
Yes.
George Wendt?
Yes.
Lori Woolrab?
Yes.
Josh Barnett?
Yes.
Jacob Beard?
Yes.
William Casely?
Yes.
Don Cavallini?
Yes.
Chuck Erickson?
Yes.
George Gordon's not here. Mark Johnson?
Yes.
Randall Martin?
Yes.
Catherine Metzger?
Yes.
Scott Murphy?
Yes.
Eric Rankin?
Yes.
Carlo Robustelli?
Yes.
And John McIntyre.
Yes. We have 19 votes yes and no votes, and no votes, and the motion has carried. Back to the floor to you, Member Soldner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 7A1E requests county board authorization to have the county administrator publish fiscal year 2019 adopted budget appropriation ordinance and the 2018 tax levy ordinance. I so move.
Motion by Vice Chairman Solner, second by Member Schaefer. Comments or questions? Any discussion? If none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has carried.
Those are all the action items we have today. There are numerous reports you can find in the packet, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to the Finance Committee report. Chairman Selzer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item we bring is request approval of the 2019 compensation plan, and I would move that.
Motion by Chairman Selzer, second by Member Segobiano. Comments or questions?
Just one, Mr. Chairman. Last year, we asked our employees to help us out. We did some right sizing of the organization. It was not easy. Our employees, except for the bargaining unit ones, did not receive any increase in compensation. And this year there is a 2.75 across the board. It's the only change to the plan. 2.5, I'm sorry. Almost give them another raise, right? But nonetheless, okay, nonetheless, they are all receiving a raise this year, and I just want to make sure that they know how much we appreciate everything they're doing for us.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? If none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried.
Next item we bring for action is a work that's taken a long time with a lot of members, and I thank them all for the work on this, but a request approval of the Economic Development Loan Program, and I would so move that.
Motion by Chairman Selzer, second by Member Barnett. Comments or questions? Member Robustelli.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to propose an amendment to this program. And if it gets a second, if it's appropriate, I'd like to make a comment about the amendment. So
Okay.
Page 9 of the program, the title of page 9 is Annual Administrative Fee is the underlined line on the top. And what I'd like to add under waiver of provisions is a subtitle underlined Program Evaluation and the following language. Board shall review this program every year from its effective date. And I make that motion.
There is the motion on the floor. Does everybody find that? This is in the CDAP packet and not on our regular board packet. Motion by Member Robustelli, second by Member Rankin. Comments or questions or discussion?
May I comment on the motion now? Is that possible?
Yes, you may. I was going to call on.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go around the order here.
Okay.
Member Barnett, and then I'll come back to you, sir.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I was just going to request, could Member Robustelli read that language one more time?
Yes, please.
Sure, absolutely. So the subtitle underlined would be Program Evaluation, and the text of the would read, Board shall review this program every year from its effective date. And if
Board shall review this program every year from its effective date. And that is the amendment to be added. Comment?
So, Mr. Chairman, I just want to echo what Chairman Selzer commented on. I understand that there has been a lot of time and energy put into this program. There have been many, many compromises, and I applaud the many, many months and hours of work that's been done from people who really want to try to make this work. The purpose of this addition is to make sure that we as a board are reviewing all of the details of this program to ensure that it is actually working the way we hope it will work. I think the last program that we had, we didn't have that opportunity because the state sort of set the parameters. This is our program now. And so I think it's really, really important that we reevaluate this every year, recognizing that it's not perfect. There are things about this program that I think every one of us could probably point to and say, we're really not comfortable with that. But I think it would be worth it to have something written in the program that allows us to reevaluate it, reassess it. Doesn't mean we have to change it, but we will do that on an annualized basis.
And that's understood that the Finance Committee will also evaluate that along with any loans that are applied for as they go along during the year. And what you're saying is you would like the whole board to review it as well. Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Member Solner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't disagree with the amendment. I think one of the things we're going to have to take in consideration is the fact that if we are making a particular loan and we decide to make some changes, we'll have to figure out a way how to deal with that particular loan. In other words, if we change interest rates or terms or whatever, we'll have to figure out how we're going to do that. So otherwise, I don't have a problem with this.
Okay, thank you. Does everybody understand that as well? Okay, if more comments, Member Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, this has been a process that those who have served on this committee have been through, but it is a compromise. You know, Member Rankin didn't get everything he wanted, and Member Erickson didn't get everything he wanted either. But it ended up where we were at. It is the essence of our democracy that sometimes we fight for as much as we can get, and we end up with what we end up with. And so I think this was a good effort by both Republicans and Democrats to work together to get something out. And I do agree with Member Robustelli's amendment. I mean, ultimately, as I've said throughout this, is that these are public funds. The ultimate jurisdiction over public funds belongs with public officials, not unelected officials. And so it should always be that way. And I appreciate all the work that was done to get this to this point. So thank you.
Thank you. Other comments or questions? If not, then we will vote on the amendment. First, all in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Now we will vote on the motion as amended. All in favor of the motion as amended, please say aye. Opposed? Okay, the motion has carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That was easy.
Thank you for your leadership on the Finance Committee. It's been a tough job, and for wading through everything with us. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We have no other items to present. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to that report of the Health Committee Chair, Member Schaefer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Health Committee has one item for action, a request approval of an amendment to McLean County Code Article 18 Miscellaneous Code Fees, Chapter 205, Section 20590, Chapter 216, Food Service Fees, and I so move.
Motion by Member Schaefer. Is there a second? Second by Member Cavallini. Comments, questions, or discussion? If none, all in favor, please. I'm sorry, Member Casely.
I would just point out that the increase in these fees is to offset the increase of the cost of making these inspections and regulating food.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? If none, all in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
That is opposition?
Yes.
So we have one. Member Wendt, was that a yes or a no vote? And I'm sorry for interrupting. Member Wendt?
Yeah, no, I voted aye.
Okay, so we have one no vote. Member Barnett, please record it. The motion has carried. Back to the floor. Member Schaefer.
Thank you. Our general report can be found on pages 44 through 51 of the unapproved minutes packet.
Thank you very much. We'll go to the report of the Land Use and Development Committee, Chairman Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Land Use and Development Committee has one item to be presented for action. Item D1A, approve the request of the McLean County Land Use and Development Committee in case ZA-18-03 for a text amendment. This is a text amendment of Article 6, Section 350-43.00, parens 3, use standards for a solar power generating facility of the zoning ordinance, and I so move.
Motion by Chairman Erickson, second by Member Worab. Comments or questions? Member Solner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to thank the Building and Zoning staff along with the Land Use Committee for making these changes. I think these are things that were well warranted. Whenever you have a new technology like solar power come into the area, it's always good to look at text and that type of thing. So I appreciate the work they did.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? If none, all in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
minutes are can be found on pages 31 through 33.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to Transportation Committee report. Chairman Casely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We bring one item for action by the board, and that's approval of a stormwater education program services agreement with the Ecology Action Center. This would call for an expenditure of $2,813, and it would complement a program that involves financing from the town of Normal, the city of Bloomington, and the Bloomington Normal Water Reclamation District, and I move that.
Motion by Member Casely. Is there a second? Second by Member Cavallini. Comments or questions? Anyone? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion is carried.
Our report is found on pages 24 through 27 of the unapproved minutes, and it is highly likely that there will be modifications of those minutes.
Thank you. Report of the Property Committee, Chairman Segobiano. This is your last Property Committee report, and you do have an item for action. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Property Committee brings one item for action this morning, F1A, and I would request the approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2018 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for the Facility Maintenance Department 0041. And I would so move, and that requires a two-thirds vote, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Chairman Segobiano, second by Member Murphy. Comments or questions? If none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Are there any dissenting votes? If none, then it passes unanimously. Thank you.
Our unapproved minutes can be found on pages 28 and 30, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. And it might be your last chance.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to the report of the Justice Committee. Member Gordon is here. Who's reporting for Justice today? Who's a senior member? Are you a senior member? Member Schaefer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Justice Committee has 5 items for action today. 7G1A is request approval of fiscal year 19 appellate prosecutor's contract, and I so move.
Motion by Member Schaefer, second by Member Segobiano. Comments or questions about the appellate contract? Member Casely.
This is the greatest economic deal that the county could possibly enter into. We really get our money's worth here, and it should be adopted.
Thank you. I remember someone saying that before. Maybe it was last year. Thank you very much. Any other comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Aye. Motion's carried.
G1B is request approval of an agreement with the National Center for State Courts for Adult Redeploy Illinois program, and I so move.
A motion to accept the redeploy program by Member Schaefer. Is there a second by Member Woolrab? Comments or questions? Discussion? If none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
G1C is request approval and emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2018 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for Fund 103, Veterans Court, and the Court Services Department 0022. And this requires a two-thirds vote, and I so move.
Motion by Chairman Schaefer, second by Member Metzger. Are there comments or questions? If none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Are there any dissenting votes to be recorded? If not, the motion carries unanimously.
G1D is request approval of an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Bloomington and the County of Mclean regulating the use by the County of Mclean of the police shooting range facility of the City of Bloomington, and I so move.
Motion to approve by Member Schaefer, second by Member Martin. Comments or questions about the range? If none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
And finally, G1E is request approval of an agreement with the Illinois State Police for forensic services, and I so move.
It's on page 176 through 188. Motion by Member Schaefer, second by Member Segobiano. Comments or questions? Discussion? If none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Aye. Motion is carried.
And the Justice Committee general report is on pages 11 through 22 of the unapproved minutes.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to the report of the county administrator, Mr. Wasson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I want to extend my thanks to all the board members through the budget process for all your work. I need to extend special thanks to Member Segobiano that I've worked on 34 budgets with, and many times not initially agreed, but as he stated, we've always come to an agreement in the end. Also, thanks to all our department heads, all our staff. Our organization is an organization of true believers. They care about what our organization does, and that makes it easier as we go through a process to accomplish what we need to accomplish through the budget process. With the adoption of the 2019 budget, it completes the 34th year of my work with the board and the staff in the development of a budget. And it's with mixed emotions today that I announce that my intent to retire as of June 1st of 2019. I want to thank the board for their continued support over the next 6.5 months, 7 months. And again, thank the board and the staff for their assistance in putting together another budget that moves our organization and I believe our community forward. Thank you.
Thank you for a job well done. As we all know, a job well done. Other business and communication, we're going to go across the street directly for the ribbon cutting ceremony for the expansion of the Law and Justice Center for the jail project. I invite you all to join us as well. There was yesterday a beginning of an upgrading and review of our county website. Our IT department and Mr. Nelson is busy working on that. They've been working on it for a couple of months now. Changes will be implemented. I invite you all to check it out and see how it goes and make suggestions. And changes will be phased in over the next few weeks. It is our hope that the website will become more navigable, more user-friendly. I'm thinking of all these words, and appealing. And people will feel that they feel comfortable with using it as well. And so we're looking forward to that, and Mr. Nelson and his department for working on that as well. So thank you for your suggestions there. There will be a search committee announced for a county administrator position in December. And Member Solner, do you have a comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple things. First, I hope we have room in the budget for another plaque. It sounds like we're going to need one in June, so let's make sure we have room for that. Secondly, I just wanted to mention and to ask all the citizens of the county to remember that this Saturday is Small Business Saturday, November 24th. Be sure and take advantage of the small businesses in town and in the community. We welcome you to travel out to District 2, to Leroy and Saybrook and Downs, and spend your money out there. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you all for your...
Please don't forget District 1 also.
District 1 as well as a rural district, 1, 2, and 3. Thank you, Catherine. I had the pleasure of interviewing Mr. Wasson when he first came to us in 1985 as part of the Health Committee, and he did an excellent job out at the Evergreen Lake situation out there, and worked his way right on through. And I'm so happy to have had him here. We couldn't have done it without him. Appreciate it, Bill. Thanks. We have bills to pay in the amount of, and these have been reviewed and approved by the auditor and recommended for payment, in the amount of $7,676,694.78, and entertain a motion to approve. Member Cavallini, second by Member Casely. Comments or questions? If none, all in favor of paying the bills as presented, please say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
That is a yes vote, I believe.
That was a yes vote for the bills, right?
Yes. I'm.
Yeah, I voted yes.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, George. Appreciate all of you and what we've done these last 2 years and your contributions. And I really personally appreciate my association with all of you. And this meeting is adjourned, and hopefully we'll all be able to join us across the street at the jail. This will be an inside event, so please follow directions.